So in today's video, we're actually going to be laying the groundwork for the network design for all of the remaining videos in this playlist. In front of you is the IP scheme that we're going to be using. And as you can see here, there's three VPCs. The security VPC, which will host the Palo Alto firewall. The application VPC, which again will host an application or two. And the same for the third and last, the security tools VPC. Each of these are going to be composed of two availability zone, which contains different subnets. The border subnet within each of these VPCs is going to be really crucial in the next video, which is where we will be deploying a transit gateway to permit or allow inter-VPC communication. So stay tuned for that. But this is going to be what we're using today. So let's go ahead and hop into the AWS console. So we actually could have used either the CLI, the command line interface, or Terraform to deploy these resources. But I think it's best for most of the audience out there that's just jumping in the cloud to really see how you would do this manually first before jumping to those. We have an EC2 tab open as well as a VPC. And we're not launching any virtual servers today, so we need to be using this service. And if you notice, we're in the Ohio or the US East 2 region today. We don't have any VPCs or any infrastructure, so the first thing we need to do is click Create VPC, and we'll give it a name tag. And the first one is Security VPC, and that creates this name tag down here. And if you're doing Terraform, the only required value is the CIDR. And so this is going to be /24, which all three of them will actually be. And once we've done that, we'll click Create VPC. We'll go back to your VPCs and we'll repeat that process twice. Application VPC. And once more for our security tools VPC. And similar to not all, there is one specific that we wish they would let you change, but most resources are editable. So if you wanted to rename this, you could just click this pencil icon and give it a name like that, and it'll take. So let's get rid of that again. And we're all done with having our first three VPCs. Next up, we'll click the Subnets button and we'll create each of these. We'll walk through creating the subnets for one of the smaller VPCs. And let's go ahead and do that for the Security Tools VPC. And here we can basically enter all of the parameters one at a time, or what I like to do is we know we need subnets, so I like to just open all four blocks. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do two of them in A, availability zone A, and then we'll do two of them in availability zone 2B. And that's basically one parameter that we've taken care of. Next thing I like to do is just basically do the names. So for the first one, we'll do Security Tools Management AZ1. That's that one there. And then we know that we need one for B. So we'll skip over to A and we'll come to our third one and we'll just change this to AZ2. And then our other name is really the border subnet. So we'll go back up to subnet 2 and we'll leave that there, and we'll need our border subnet for AZ2. So we basically got our management and border for AZ2, which are in US East 2B, and then we've got our management and border for AZ1, which is 2A. So the only thing that's left is to really allocate the IP space. So for management AZ1, this is 10.0.2.0/26. And then for the border, that's going to be 10.0.2.0/26. 192.64/28. Don't need as many IPs for that. Really just need one. And now to AZ2, this management is going to be 10.0.2.128/26. Well, that's a boo-boo in our spreadsheet, but we'll change that. And then we'll basically do our third one, which is 10.0.2.192. And this again will be a /28. And so once we hit create subnets, all 4 of those are going to be created right there. So I'm going to go ahead and create the remaining subnets for the other 2 VPCs. So let me do that and we'll speed that up just a bit. All right, and so now we have all 16 subnets, and we can see here 4 from security tools, 4 from the application, and if we expand this a bit just to see, we've got the 8 from our firewall, or AKA our security VPC. So next, let's go ahead and associate those with the proper route tables. So these are the 3 default route tables. By default, when you create a VPC, a default route table is configured. So if you wanted to try to say delete this, you actually are not going to be able to unless you create another one and then set that other custom created one to the main route table. Then you would be able to create that one. So let's go ahead and create we'll do the same. We'll go backwards. So for the security tools, we're going to have 2 route tables. The first one is going to be for our management, and that will be security tools VPC. We'll create that route table, and then we'll basically come back and we'll do the same. Create route table. And this one will be border, same VPC. And I'll show you here how to get rid of the default one. So let's go back to route tables, and we can see that the VPC for that one is actually those default ones are they're not associated. Okay, so we're gonna have to find it here, security tools VPC. All right, so we will pick our management one. We'll go to actions and we will hit set main route table, and we'll type set to confirm that. Now we'll select this and we'll click actions, delete route table, and okay, so maybe it took time to propagate. Let's refresh and let's see. Security tools, actions, delete. Now we can hit delete. Yeah, sometimes you got to hit that refresh button almost so the back end can know your change is made. So we've got our 2 route tables. Now we need to basically associate them. We could have honestly had 1 route table for this entire one. We'll do some drawings and explain that in the next video. But for now, we'll select the border route table, subnet associations. We'll edit them and we'll select our 2 border subnets and we'll hit save associations. So now for those 2 subnets, they have a route that only knows how to reach other items in this VPC. We'll do the same for management. We will go to subnet associations, edit subnet associations. We'll filter or sort, and then we'll select the 2 management subnets. And so now for that VPC, we're basically all set. So now I'll basically use the same logic for the other 2 VPCs, but Watch me do it while I go ahead and speed that up for you. All right, and so we're honestly all set. So to be quite honest, we've got our route tables that we need according to our spreadsheet. But let's just do a quick recap of where we stand. So at the beginning, we created 3 VPCs, and we basically needed to identify the CIDR block or the IP range for each of those. Next up, we created subnets for each of those VPCs across 2 different availability zones. Each of those basically has a slight carved up set from that bigger CIDR block for the entire VPC. And so it took some time, of course, to do the security or the firewall one, but we got them all in together. And then last but not least, we went ahead and created the route tables. Basically, if we tie or associate different subnets to unique or individual's route table, down the road, we are better able to influence them if we need to. This subnet only to be able to go to that destination across this path. If we put them all in one route table, we couldn't really deterministically do that. So sometimes it's better to put distinct or certain subnets in their route table when you know ahead of time. And definitely for our firewall VPC, we're going to need the inside interface to be targeted. So if we had one firewall in AZ1 and a different one in AZ2, we don't want both of them being in the same route table to only send to one firewall. If we were doing active passive or active standby, definitely we would. But in this use case, that's not what we're going to be doing. So again, there's so much left to be done. But in next video, we're actually going to basically be deploying from the VPC, the same service in the same tab. We're going to be deploying a transit gateway, and we're going to be basically building 3 VPC attachments so they can connect to this. But stay tuned for that in the next video. And as always, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and until next time, peace.